What is the point in going up into the mountains to search for something that doesn't want to be found? Wolfman is the latest collaboration between Universal Pictures and Blumhouse. Oh boy, what an award-winning collaboration that is. Such a laundry list of tremendous horror movies from Universal and Blumhouse. Jason Blum, the bane of my goddamn existence, but it's fine. It's fine. It's totally goddamn fine because writer-director Leigh Whannell is involved, and that's good because he did the really shockingly good rendition of The Invisible Man that came out about 5 years ago. Surprisingly, it was actually tension-filled, and even though it was a little bit long in the poot, I think that's how that phrase goes, it actually was a successful reimagining of the Invisible Man concept. We didn't get the sequel, The Invisible Woman. Maybe Elizabeth Moss was too busy worshipping Xenu and whatever the fuck else it is the Scientologists do. Anyway, check out my review of The Invisible Man that I did about 5 years ago. So that's okay. Leigh Whannell, he was able to take that and make it successful. And Wolfman has been done time and time again. Going all the way back to the 30s. And then we have an American Werewolf in London. We have Wolfen. We have an American Werewolf in Paris. Various other renditions of the werewolf concept. So you know what? It doesn't hurt to have Leigh Whannell involved and take this property and take it into a new direction. A new sensation, a new wolf sensation. He can't do it alone, though. Also, by the way, Leigh Whannell was also Specs in the Insidious franchise. And he also did that Upgrade movie. A movie I need to revisit at some point. He was also Adam in Saw, which I totally forgot about. But he did have some writing help. Corbett Tuck, or Corbett Tuck, that is, Insidious 3. You'll recognize him from Insidious 3. So, this features Christopher Abbott, who was in Possessor, and most recently, Kraven the Hunter. Okay, that's not a great 1-2 punch. Possessor was alright, but not great. But he plays a man named Blake, who has a wife, Charlotte. Not good Charlotte, not Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous. They're always complaining, and boy, I'm going to be doing some goddamn complaining because Julia Garner from the Royal Hotel and other projects basically is given nothing to do in Wolfman, but she is doubtful of her ability to be a proper mother, and Blake is just trying to bring up the daughter Ginger, played by Matilda Firth, who basically just loves her dad, and, you know, there's tension between Charlotte and Blake because they're both writers, but things are going on. Then a certain situation comes up with Blake's family that necessitates him going to Oregon. And then something happens where he sees something on the road. And then he ends up attacked. If you can't guess what he's attacked by with a film called Wolfman, I don't know what to fucking tell you because you need to pull your head out of your ass or, I don't know, figure out what the hell's going on with your life. And yeah, he was attacked by a wolf. And then he starts to turn into a wolf man. And that's pretty much it right there. Look, I don't mind a bare bones concept and something that wants to have psychological horror and trauma, you know, like permeating through and everything with a little bit of body horror. I don't mind twists and turns like that. I mean, it's like The Beast Within that was really goddamn terrible. But I don't mind a different spin on the Wolfman concept. That's fresh. That's cool. It just wasn't executed well. I mean, this movie should be publicly executed as far as I'm goddamn concerned. Matilda Firth, I hate to pick on kids, but that kid was terrible. That kid was absolutely goddamn terrible. And Julia Garner, given nothing to do. Christopher Abbott's Blake is totally goddamn, unsympathetic. The characters are so paper thin. The concept is so paper thin. It's almost impressive how bad this is, how stretched out this is. And I think it's only maybe 90 minutes. It's only like 90 goddamn minutes, and this thing feels like it has enough material for 40. It's also so goddamn dark you can't see what's going on, and it's not the excuse of a television, being too dark or device being too dark. This is a fucking goddamn movie theater. Apparently, they didn't trust anybody to take it seriously unless they made it so goddamn dark. And yes, it's supposed to be taking place at night. I get that. And yes, having a small cast, you can have some sympathy for characters that are put in danger. If you have characters and if any of these people are worth giving a fuck about. Everybody could have died in the first 10 minutes and they could have just showed a goddamn wolf hand puppet like in that MST3K werewolf movie. And that would have been totally goddamn fine. I would have been just totally fine. But basically, the idea here is that there's this text in the beginning that refers to this old legend that, is referred to as Face of the Wolf, that is made with chicken, corn, green peppers, chili, onions. There is nobody that will get that beyond like maybe 2 MST3K fans that are watching this. Yeah, Blumhouse, the bane of my goddamn existence. How dare you, Jason Blum? How dare you? How very dare you? He can turn like the trashiest concepts into success at the box office. Not every Blumhouse movie is a raging success, but they managed to turn Megan, Mathregan, or whatever, into a successful movie. Somehow, that sequel's coming out a little bit later. And I don't mean to just blast this movie repeatedly, but I am surprised. I'm almost in shock at how this is worse than Night Swim. Night Swim I at least got some amusement out of. Imaginary was really, really badly written and performed and shot and everything. At least, for a movie that is trying to be like, more family-oriented and everything, I couldn't have given 2 flying fucks if this family just, met the same men that the Benoit family did. I don't know if that's too harsh. I don't care. I certainly... Hey, the wolves are in the enclosed pool area, and the side lycanthrope is open. Whatever. It's fine. There's like one twist that's so goddamn obvious that, like, you know even before any wolf attack exists, or any hint, any scent of the wolf, not scent of the woman, any of this stuff happens, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to goddamn happen. It was Tom Clancy's Lycanthrope division. It's just there was like some hunting stuff in the beginning of this. It's so paralyzingly dull. I'm just trying to come up with ways to just dump on it because I don't know what else to really say. I just don't. And apparently there was inspiration taken from the 1986 The Fly as far as the transformation and stuff like that and everything. And okay, the transformations are all right. The transformations are okay. They're not great, but they're okay. But speaking of transformations, I'm going to talk about something that transformed here, because my rage transformed into a shockingly great, wolf kitty here. Something that could just tear everybody up. You'd tear everybody up. Couldn't you? Couldn't you? Hi. Hi. So I told you about this movie before I got going on this. And I told you the kid wasn't very good, and you're not surprised. You didn't really like kids. You were in a home with kids and didn't actually really like them, from my understanding. But I told you what the twist was. And all you did was look like this. You weren't surprised at all. Nobody could be surprised. Nobody could be surprised by any of this. The movie is paralyzingly dull. It is so goddamn bad that I had to bring my cat on here to try and, calm myself down and everything before he clearly rips my throat out like one particular scene that happened in this movie. I'm sorry, that's a bit of a spoiler. Let's get into the spoilers, shall we? Shall we get into the spoilers? Okay, let's get into the spoilers. So anyway, yeah, this movie isn't good, like, at all. And the fact is, for any attempts to, like, try and change the formula, twist the formula around, and maybe, make it more psychologically damning, it just ends up being paralyzingly dull and just full of nitwit decisions. And questionable stuff that really made me wonder if Lee Winnell just is a one-hit wonder. Anyway, I'm going to get into spoilers in theaters if you want to check it out. Fuck Jason Blum and everything he stands for. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So, in the beginning, there was rap. And also, there was Blake's dad. Out of my way, Grady! Who's trying to teach him about about survival and hunting and everything. That's where the Tom Clancy stuff comes in. A Super Scope 6 would have been more believable. And they moved up into this mountainous cabin area, or the dad did. I guess the dad went kind of insane, because he's looking for something. He's looking for a wolf man. I'm starting to wonder maybe if the implication was that it was his dad and he was trying to show him that this is something that is going to stop in the family. I don't know necessarily. We don't really get to find that out. So he tries to... young Blake tries to go off and hunt. That doesn't work. The dad gets upset at him. They go up in this deer nest thing. that's like a few feet off the ground, but the wolf is like breathing, and there's this breath stuff, and a little bit more on that later. And then what ends up happening is we smash cut to 30 years later. And yeah, he's now yelling at his daughter occasionally, like without intending to, like his dad yelled at him, but he loves his daughter. And Charlotte is doubting whether she's a good mother or not. Julia Garner is a good actress. She is just not good in this movie. Nobody is. It's like they gave her somas. I think everybody got somas. I definitely think the makeup effects people got somas, because that's the only way to explain why stuff is so lazy in this. But yeah, his dad is declared dead. They never find a body. Gee, I wonder who the Wolfman is. I mean, who's the Wolfman? Who could the Wolfman possibly be? We've only seen a couple other characters, people on the street. I hear the secrets at your street as New Yorkers walk along the street. Or it's Canada. I don't really fucking care. I'm bringing the producer back on because I'm going to get banned if I'm not careful. So, basically, the big old twist here is, after they take a moving van and they crash it, they pick up a guy named Derek first. Okay, the name Derek isn't that bad. Hey, there's a good guy named Derek. Hey. So they pick up a guy named Derek that actually was referenced when Grady called on the CB radio. Aren't you trying to protect your son? I think that was him. I don't necessarily care. But anyway, he's like, hey, I can lead you to where your family house is, even though you don't remember, but you should, but you put it out of your head. Oh, you saw somebody across the road. He's being a real creep, by the way, but then suddenly Blake sees somebody across the road, and you know what Blake does? He crashes the car off the road, and the moving van ends up in the tree. If he doesn't get the insurance, it's going to cost him so much. So anyway, basically, then he ends up, Derek gets killed. A lot of good that character fucking did. And then Blake gets cut. And then he starts to change. Change so much to the point that he can't understand his wife and his daughter. They're speaking a weird language. Because they speak two different languages, like I'm speaking to you. You hate me so much. I'm going to have to give you a treat after this, aren't I? Am I going to have to give you a treat? So basically what ends up happening is he's changing, and he says, he writes on a notepad, I'm dying. In the trailer it said changing. A changeling would have been better. The movie Hatching would have been a whole lot better than this. The whole point is what basically it comes down to is there is a creature hunting them. The creature is the dad. I know, how surprising. The one character that we saw in this. It's the dad. Yeah, it's the dad. And he eventually ends up killing his dad, defending his daughter. There was a running gag where the daughter would put her hand on the dad's head and say, what am I thinking? Oh, that, I love my daughter so much, or whatever, best daughter in the world. How did you know that? You must be psychic. Why do you hate me so much? You? Be kitty. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to hold you right here. You got me in the lip. That hurt. So yeah, basically he ends up killing his dad when he's trying to protect his family, rips his throat out, and then keeps changing. And then eventually they had to use a bear trap to basically show him gnawing his foot off. Earlier he was gnawing his arm. He's eating his arm, and then he's going to eat me. Oh my God! And then he ends up getting trapped in the barn with his foot in the bear trap. He chews his foot off. And then he's trying to get to his wife and daughter in the deer hut 1, 2 thing. And then what does he do? He basically looks at him, looks at the daughter, realizes he's changing, and says, oh, please, Mommy, he wants us to be over. We all do, kid. We all do. And then she shoots him. And then they take off. And then that's it. And it's terrible. And I hate it. Why didn't you tell Jason Blum to make a better movie? Okay. Alright. Anyway. Yeah, this movie is absolute dog shit. Absolute dog shit. I don't care if there are plot points that I missed. There's no plot. I don't care if there are certain little Easter eggs that I missed. I don't care. I don't even want to blame Lee Winnell here. I will blame Jason Blum. How dare you, Jason Blum? How dare you, Jason Blum's mother, not realize what the hell you brought into this world? F. Gets an F. It's an abomination against horror. I don't even want horror to exist anymore. Thank you, Jason Blum. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, some Blue Sky handles in the description. It gets an F, by the way, F, just in case you didn't get that. So yeah, all those descriptions, all those, social media handles in the description. I'm John Renthal, the producer somewhere, and I will see you soon.